Hi, this is Dennis with Second Chance Tackle, back to preview some of the things I'll be working on this week, some of the reels that have recently arrived in my shop, some of the work that's ahead of me, and well, some of the ones that I plan to turn into how to service and repair videos. So before I get going too much further, if you like these types of videos, I would encourage you to subscribe to my channel if you want to learn about fishing reel service and repair, learn about the reels themselves and who made those reels and when they were made and so on. Good place to be. I would encourage you to subscribe, and if you do subscribe, please use that notification button. Well, it's that time of year where the boats are out of the water. We're in the winter. Even the folks that would like to go fishing, well, there's just not enough of them. It's a critical mass to go on the charter boats. So they're all about, the charter boats are all about getting their tackle and equipment all ready for the next season. It's their time off, but it's also their time to take care of some of the things that maybe were neglected over time. And that's what I have here. I have a bucket of fishing reels, most of them being Penn Jig Masters. And with those reels, typically they will break during the season. The captain doesn't have the time to service them, just generally places them in a bucket like you see here. And well, off they come to me, and I work them into my schedule as I can. And in this bucket, there's about 8 or 10 of them. We won't go through all of them. They are Jig Masters. And folks ask, well, how do you learn to diagnose reels? How do you learn about the issues that are in certain models and makes, and what the most common failure points are and the like? And well, quite honestly, the answer is it's just being exposed to them. So here's one that came in. A couple of things going on with this reel. One of them is it's missing a screw for the bridge. That hole should be filled with a screw. And well, why do they lose the screws? Well, most of the time it's vibration of the boat. That boat shakes an awful lot. You got double or triple diesels sitting in there, a lot of vibration going on, and if those screws aren't tight, well, they do shake out over time. This one's lost one of the key ones. And also on this reel, I was just playing around with it, the free spool release, well, it's got a broken spring in there, and I can tell that without taking the pieces and parts off. Common failure points on Jig Masters that are used frequently in the charter boat environment. These would be used for striped bass, for bluefish, for deep drop fishing. The reels themselves are known as casting reels from shore, but in this case with a charter boat, they're not being used in that manner. So I've got about a dozen of them in here, and it'll be a chance to go in there, work on them, clean them up, see what we can do. Here's one that's not a Jig Master. I'm not quite sure how this one got in the lot. Sometimes folks fishing on their boats, if the reel breaks, they just kind of leave it with the boat. I don't know where to get this thing fixed. I've had it for a while. Go ahead and take it. This one is probably I don't know, 30 years old, I'm going to guess. It's a 47H, I believe, is a Daiwa Sealine. Might be the 30H based on the handle, probably the 47H. I imagine what the captain did was he removed the line guide, which is probably what broke. That's okay. They typically do not fish line guide fishing reels on charter boats. They rely on the more conventional ones. That one's got a solid line guide shield on it, which would hold the frame tight. This is an aluminum frame, and this is a Daiwa Sealine. As I mentioned, a beautiful reel. And I guess this is sticking here, and it's a little tight. Now, one of the things I know about this, just from experience with the Sealine variety, salt gets into this free spool lever mechanism. That might even be a broken spring there as well. But it gets in here and it swells, and it makes it very difficult to move this back and forth. Sometimes penetrating oil will dissolve that, and well, that's cool. But I got about, as I mentioned, about a dozen of these. They work into the other ones that I need to service on a regular basis for my customers, and well, we'll be working on them this week. The next one up then comes in from, where does it come from? Comes in from Jose. He's in New York. And Jose's sending me in a Stella, a Shimano Stella. This is the Stella 2500 FA. I assume the handle's in there somewhere. He said it's just a normal service for this one. I think you saw on the last video that I previewed that I got about 25 reels similar to this from a fishing club out in the Pocono Mountains. I've been working my way through that. That set included a bunch of Stellas, a few Vanfords, and Massey reels. And I've been working my way through those as well. Well, the next one we have comes in from Montana. Comes in from Dale in Montana. And let's see what Dale is sending me. I always love getting reels in from across the country and learning what they're fishing with. And, well, keeping them fishing out there as well. This is a Shimano. This is the Shimano Caenan. It's the Caenan 100. I think he said, yeah, there's an issue with the pawl sticking. You might be able to see the way it's bouncing over here on the side. Then it picks up again, and then it goes back over there. And it's kind of like a record needle stuck in a track, for those of us old enough to remember record needles sticking in tracks. And, well, this one just needs a good tune-up all around. That should be a line guide pawl. But we're going to take the whole reel apart. We'll service it. I think I'll do a video on this one for Dale as well. It's been around a while, and it does need a replacement pawl. And I guess that's probably the first place I'll go, is to see if I can get that replacement pawl. And then once I do, we'll do the video on that. Okay, next one I opened up. I try to open some of these up just to save some time. Plus, a lot of comments lately about people watching me with razor knives, afraid I'm going to slice off a digit or two. That's always quite a possibility. I can assure you I have taken my time in doing that. And, well, here you go. This one comes in from Fred. Where is Fred? Fred's in Washington. So we've got a lot of these reels that have made the cross-country trip in New Jersey, here on the Mid-Atlantic seaboard. And I guess the power of YouTube is that it's far-reaching. Not only does it reach the domestic U.S., but it reaches across the world. I get comments from everywhere. I truly enjoy those comments. And, well, we're just delighted to have everybody across the world watching for us. Okay, Fred did call me. He said that the line guide, the line counter on this one, it might be this one, it might be the other one. This one seems to be working. The counter is good, the drive is not. So the worm gear is not turning. This is an interesting setup on this one. I think we'll do this as a video. This has a couple of gears in here. There's 3 plastic gears, I believe. One of them translates from the spool. The other one drives the worm gear. The other one drives the line counter. So it doesn't appear to be a spool drive because the line counter is turning. It does appear to be an issue driving that worm gear. I've ordered parts ahead of time. I told Fred that when he notified me that he put them in the mail, that I would go ahead and do that. And now we have the opportunity to work on that reel. And I think, well, I think what we'll do is we'll do a video there as well. If you have any questions on these reels or any reels, if you'd like to see a video on one, by all means, please leave a note in the comments section. I will try to answer those questions and respond. I typically try to respond the next day. All right, this one might be the one with the broken line counter. This is the Dakota. It's a 500 line counter. Yeah, this is the one that has the broken line counter. So it's funny, I got 2 of these in a matter of 2 days. There's a line counter again, same idea. You got 2 drives coming over on this side. In this case, the gear that's driving the worm gear is working, but something's not working in the line counter itself. These have a couple of bars on them. As you press down on these over time, I do notice that those bars on the back that are holding the lines for reset do shatter. Also looks like we have a bent little guide bar down here. We'll straighten that out as part of the service too. All right, one more in here, and I don't remember what it was, but it might be a low-profile baitcaster. You know, I get a lot of inquiries about the services, and from time to time you remember them, and sometimes, well, you don't. A lot of times folks will inquire and decide that they want to try it themselves, and other times, well, they send them in. We have a Bantam Corrado. It's a low-profile one. My guess is early 2000s, based on the industrial design. It's been well cared for. That's nice. Actually, it doesn't even look like it's been fished. You still have the little label on the spool there. What we do have is apparently a line guide or a spool release here that doesn't want to release back. So that ought to be an interesting one. I think we'll do this one too. I'm wondering what it is. It looks like it's in nice shape. It has been used. You can see the evidence of the line rub and the like on the reel itself, but something's caused this to not move in and out or up and down, engage or disengage, whatever words you want to use to that. And that's a frequent problem with low-profile bait casters. They get a lot of dirt in on them, and those mechanisms that are involved in the trip mechanism and the like, well, they fail frequently because of the dirt and the grease and the grime. So maybe it'll be a lesson for all of us to learn. Okay, this one's coming in from Seattle, Washington. Wow. So we've had Montana and 2 coming from Washington. Long way trips. As much as we like to complain about the cost of postage, I think that it's still one of the best bargains you can get in terms of having somebody ship something coast to coast for under $20. Okay, what do we have here? We have a Zebco Bowfisher. Okay, I do recall this one. This one, I believe, is actually just a thank you. And it says, the bowfishing reel from Zebco is mine to explore. And, enjoy it. So you thought you'd find it interesting. You got it in a 2-for-1 deal and doesn't need the 2 of them. This is from Steve. And he said, have fun with the Zebco. And give the Daiwa going over. I took it apart, tried to repair it and failed. Lost a screw that keeps the reel gear in. Zipped it to oblivion. I think I know this one as a reel. This is the Saltiga. I imagine it's the 2-speed reel. And yep, that's what I'm going to be looking at. I got to get that spring. All right, so this is one of the most annoying springs to set. And in many regards, I guess, even taking it apart, it's annoying because it shoots. Let's just take a quick look at this. So this is the pivot that's on here. You have the 2-speed handle nut or screw right here. That's the top plate. Next you have this little assembly. This assembly is going to hold this. Well, we've got the screws in there now, so that's kind of hard to do, and I don't want to lose those screws. But this assembly is going to sit down. The ring is going to be your trigger point. It's going to fit inside of a little slot in this carrier. The carrier is going to lock. You can see it right here. That's the lock. So the lock is going to go, again, those screws are in the way there, but there is a little lever. When you push it down, there's a slot. And this guy, that's going to be sitting on top of this. And I know I'm not doing a good job of this because of those darn screws in here. But the net on this one is you have a very limited area to place a spring. This is going to be sitting in the carrier like this. Maybe I should have done it here. It's going to be sitting in the carrier like this. This loop is going to go around the outside of it like this and into that little hook. It's easier on the reel than it is here. So that's kind of your setup here, just like that. When you toggle your switch, it's going to pull this in and out. You have a very small cavity right here, and what appears to be a very big spring that has to lodge in there. So the way that this gets assembled is that spring has got to get compressed, held, and pushed down, all while navigating the little cut that it sits in right here, that you can see how it's indented here, all while navigating that. It is not an easy task, and but once you accomplish it, you put this back on with the two springs that are there, and you're good to go. That's going to be interesting. So I've got to order the spring that went flying for Steve, but that should be an interesting project. If I get the nerve up to try and do a video on this while I'm trying to set that spring, I will. But I hope you'll accept my apologies in advance if I need full concentration and somehow don't manage to produce a video in the middle of all of the concentration needed to make that work. Well, that's an interesting set of fishing reel and projects. Some of them are a little bit longer in term than the others, but all of them going to be interesting in terms of keeping me going. And who knows, maybe we'll get to this one. Look at this. This is fascinating, right? This is a big Zebco reel for bow fishing. And I wouldn't even know where to start. The made in China bow DM piece. I don't know how it mounts on the bow. That's, I guess, what I mean by that in terms of how to get started. And I'm not sure where the trigger is. No, that's going to be, oh, here is your trigger. So as you're fishing, you're going to trigger it here. You push in. So this is basically the big Zebco saltwater reel with a modified bottom case to it. Here's your push button for release. Here's your reset. Push to release. Your line is going to come out with the arrow. Comes back in. Totally fascinating. Wow. Well, I guess I got to learn a little bit more about how to mount it to a bow. I'm not a bow fisherman, but thank you to Steve for that as well. Well, I hope you've enjoyed that. I want to encourage you again to subscribe if you want to see these projects. Hit that notification button and let me know what you think in the comments. If you're interested in seeing these, just leave them in the comment section. I will try to answer your questions, and I will try to do the videos that you request. Before I leave, I want to thank our first responders, our police, fire, safety, rescue, and everybody involved in keeping us safe. I want to thank you for viewing and for keeping the channel vibrant. This is Dennis with Second Chance Tackle. Have a great day.